Hello. Today I'm going to present you the Farcrowd dashboard that you will see the features that the farmer can see and use after log in Farcrowd startup. So as a farmer, you would be able to log in with your email address and password. So of course, it is also possible to just reset your password with your email, as so many businesses has this feature today. So it is also possible to just um, sign up as a farmer in Farcrowd startup. So what we need from you is to have your mobile phone, the email address, and to set a password, and of course agree with the terms and conditions of Farcrowd startup. So if you would have a kind of active field in Farcrowd startup as a farmer, once you would log in after a good period of time, you will see probably this dashboard. So what you would see is that the list of those drone flights that you had, and the result as a very quick tag with this kind of healthy warning and danger zone. And so yeah, list of flights will appear here. You will see them. But of course, it is important to have the report of those flights that you had. Uh, what we need as a kind of startup in this case, after each flight, we need the information. We need the report from the drone. It can happen in two cases. In one case, if the drone has a Wi-Fi module, then we can connect through the internet with the drone and ask for the latest report. And if the drone doesn't have the Wi-Fi module, then what we need is to just use the USB cable and connect the drone with the computer, and then we would need to upload the report of the drone uh, to the platform. So by the way, once you upload the report, you would have different status. That it would be in progress, it would be finished, and it would be canceled in some cases. But it would be possible then to see the list of those reports that you did, of course, after a flight here on this part. And as a farmer, you would be able to just have several, not only one, but several fields in your dashboard. So I should notice that it is important for us to just separate each crop type into a new field in Farcrowd, because what we are doing here is that we are scanning a field and we are expecting only one type of crop each time. So it is not possible, for instance, if you have a potato yard or if you have a kind of a wheat farm, to just scan them at a single time, and you would expect that it would just returns you one report. It should be separated. So by the means of field, we don't mean that the total area that you have on in a specific region. What we expect from you to have in mind is that we separate fields into different crop types. And this is important because we need to scan it, and we need to know that what type of crop are you planting on each field. And it is of course important to know the harvesting time because we need to do some calculation based on your remaining time of your harvest. Um, and in the list of fields, what you would see is that yeah, the latest drone scanned at a time, and the time that you will created that the specific field, and the status, that what is the status of that. It can have separate statuses, and of course you would be able to remove or add a new field within this page. And I should notice that the first entry point of Former in Farcrowd platform is to be able to add a new field, because everything else um, attaches to the field entity. So the first entry point would be field, and you need to create a new field. So regarding grounds, I should say that it is possible only to choose some specific versions of drones, because we need to know that the structure of the data that drone is going to send us, and there are some specific types of drones that we are supporting for the time, and of course we are uh, going to add new drone types in the future. But right now, there are only four types of companies, I mean, four different manufacturers that we are supporting, and each of them has a drone model, as you can see here. And as I mentioned before, you should notice that this drone has a Wi-Fi module or not. And by adding the drone, then you will be able to add its reports after each flight. So let's say that the second step that the farmer should do after adding a new field is to add drones. Then we would be able to connect somehow to the drone and read this information based on each flight that is going to have. Well, as a farmer, you would be also possible. It would be also possible to add some data sets of drones, or some historical data of climate, and some soil samples as a kind of data set, and also the sample of the product that you're planting on each field, which in this case is so important for us to improve the accuracy of the reports, because what we have as a kind of standard data set in our databases is different in case by case based on each product, even in different regions. Imagine that a wheat that you are going to plant in the U.S., in Texas, for instance, the color, the healthiness of this wheat is totally different with wheat that you're going to harvest in British Columbia, for instance. So it is necessary to have um, the information of a sample from that specific region in specific times. So what we are going to have in the long run is to collect some data sets within different provinces in Canada and in the US. But for the time, what we need from a farmer is to add a sample of the product that it is going to plant. But the thing is that uh, we would support farmers in this case. I mean, this is something that we would just take some samples and we would scan them by our own, and we would do the data entry. So yeah, farmers are not alone in this case, and we would help them. And in some cases, some forms, they might have some IoT devices that in some cases there are some um, sensors that you can put, for instance, into the field, and it would just test the soil materials, and those information can also help us a lot. So we decided to have this feature to let the user, which is in this case a farmer, to add some data sets if it is available for him, and to help us to increase the accuracy of our reports. And of course, the most important part of each field is a single page which includes so many useful information. Here in the main area, you would see a map of the field, and it will just highlighted those areas that are suspicious to have a problem, and so we would let the farmer know that what type of problems he might have on his field. We would show the display the total flights that he had from the beginning of using. We would just show the insurance status. We would just send the farmer some suggestions, as you can see in the notification area, and the health score, which is a very important metric for us. And we would just examine each field by its own health score. Of course, about the weather forecast, these are some dummy data. And for weather forecast, the farmer would be able to see some hints about forecast of the weather. So it helps us, the farmer, to uh, improve the usage of water, for instance, or do the right timing for harvesting the plant. And in some cases, if the forecast would just um, uh, notice any kind of storms, so then that would be a kind of um, situation for the insurance company to take some decisions. And mm, so this feature would help both the farmer and also the insurance company to make the right decision at the right time. And in the below part, you would see that there would be a place for notifications and suggestions that the farmer would be able to see some notifications from Farcrowd, which are so useful for him in this case. So of course, there are some billing pages and also supporting, which is ticketing system for the user. But the main features that a farmer can expect to see is those things that I just introduced you. And thank you very much for your time, and goodbye.